On this board, we have a very quick summary of financial fitness. And this is very important because this Thursday, February 29th at 7 p.m., we are doing a very big financial fitness webinar. We're bringing in financial experts such as Tony Jackson and Sean Langston and Timothy Day and Rico Beans and Nick Riggins and Marlon Smith, right? Very big financial fitness webinar. And the format of the webinar is going to be all Q&A, right? So we need you to send us questions. Send us your financial questions in advance, right? And so I made this very short video for you so that it will inspire questions, all right? So this is a very short overview of the foundation of financial fitness, all right? Let's jump right in. Number one, 7 types of income streams: W-2 income, business income, interest income, dividend income, capital gains income, rental income, and royalty income. Now, active income is where you are trading your time for money, but passive income is where your assets are making money for you. And financial freedom is when your passive income exceeds your cost of living. Number two, how to start a side business. Well, first, clarify your business idea and then choose a business structure. Now, in general, if your net income is under $1,000 per month, right, then you're probably fine with just being a DBA, registering as a DBA, which is doing business as, right? Just a DBA, simple DBA. But when your net income reaches above $1,000 per month, then you want to really look into becoming an LLC, right? And then when your net income exceeds $5,000 per month, then you want to really consider becoming an LLC with S Corp election, right? Number three, register your business through your state's website. Number four, register to get your EIN number through the IRS website. Number five, open a business bank account. Number six, get a business credit card. Number seven, set up a bookkeeping system. Number eight, set up an invoicing system. Number nine, if needed, depending on your industry, get business insurance. Number 10, if needed, pay quarterly estimated taxes. Number 11, take advantage of the tax write-off. You see, the moment you start a business, a lot of your personal expenses can become business expenses because of Section 162A of the IRS code, which allows a deduction for all the ordinary and necessary expenses paid or incurred during the taxable year in carrying on a trade or business. So here's the thing. The tax code is designed to benefit business owners and investors. And so this is why it's so very beneficial to at least start a side business. Because the moment you start a side business, you start to become able to convert some of your personal expenses into business expenses, right? Depending on how you structure your business, right? So, number three, the concept of interest is the foundation of personal finance. Interest is money you pay for borrowing money, and interest is the money you earn for lending money. Now, example, $10,000 at 10% APR, which stands for annual percentage rate. All right. So $10,000 at 10% APR is $1,000 of interest for year one, but it's $1,100 of interest for year two, and it's $1,210 for year three, and it's $1,331 for year four, and it's $1,464.10 for year five, and it's $1,610.51 for year six, and it's $1,771.56 for year seven, and it's $1,948.71 for year 8. Now, question for you. Why is the amount of interest increasing each year? Why is that? Right? The first year was only $1,000 of interest. But by the 8th year, we're up to almost $2,000 of interest for the year, right? Why is it that the amount of interest increases each year? Well, it is because of the power of compound interest, right? Compound interest is where you're making interest not only on the initial principal, but you're also making interest on the interest that is accumulating along the way, right? So for year 1, the interest was calculated only based on the initial principal of $1,000, right? Of $10,000, right? Right. And so it was $1,000 of interest, right? Because it was 10% of 10,000. But for year 2, the interest is calculated on both the initial $10,000 principal, but also on the $1,000 of interest that was accumulated in year 1, right? So do you see how compound interest is where you're making interest not only on the principal, but you're making interest on the interest that is accumulating, right? So it's compounding, right? And so this is a perfect example of that. So the power of compound interest. And you look at this situation, right? In just 8 years, the account balance grew from $10,000 to $21,435.88. It more than doubled within just 8 years. And so this is a powerful example of how the earlier you start investing, the more you will benefit from the power of compound interest. Here's an example. $100 a month, okay? If you invest $100 a month into a typical Roth IRA stock index fund, right? Which typically averages around 10% of interest per year, right? And if you start at the age of 16, that amount, $100 a month, but starting at the age of 16, it becomes $1,567,082 by the age of 65. But if you wait until age 26 to get started, then that amount will only become around 571,324. That's almost $1 million less just because you waited 10 years to get started, right? Because the earlier you start, the more you'll be able to take advantage of the power of compound interest, right? Let's continue this on further. Let's say you wait until age 36 to get started. Well, then that means the amount will only be around $203,484. That's over $1.3 million less, right? So again, the power of compound interest is so very important. And so it's so important to start early to start to invest and to encourage our children to start early, right? To lead our children into starting early to invest, right? Number 4, framework of financial priorities. Well, it can be different for different people, right? But here's an example. You want to become clear on what your financial priorities are, right? For me, number 1, I really believe in giving a portion of income away, right? Like as a tithe, you know. Number 2, save up at least $1,000 as a mini emergency fund, right? If you're starting from scratch and don't have any money, you know, like do a mini emergency fund of at least $1,000, right? And by the way, you want to use a high yield savings account, right? Because a high yield savings account is a bank account that pays the interest, like the higher interest than a regular bank account, right? So you want to look into high yield savings accounts, right? For example, in my area right now, Capital One Bank offers high yield savings accounts that pay over 4% right now, right? And so this is for your emergency fund, right? So that's number two. Number three, pay off all high interest debt, right? Anything above like 8% is considered high interest, right? So you want to prioritize paying off high interest debt. Number four, employer sponsored retirement. So take advantage of employer sponsored retirement, but only up to the match. And if they're not matching, then don't participate in that, right? There's other options that are better, because what we found is that these employer sponsored retirement plans, there's a lot of hidden fees in it, a lot of hidden fees. And so it's not worth it. The only thing that makes it worth it is if they are matching your contribution. So if they're offering some type of matching contribution, definitely take advantage of that, because that is free money, right? All right. So number five, expand to 6 months emergency fund. Expand your emergency fund to cover 6 months of your living expenses, right? Number six, save for special purchases. Number seven, auto invest into a Roth IRA stock index fund. Number eight, auto invest into a non-retirement stock index fund. Number nine, build multiple streams of income through entrepreneurship. Number 10, build multiple streams of passive income through business ownership, stock market investing, and real estate investing. Number five, maximize your credit score. Your credit score is so very key, because it really opens up a lot of doors, especially with real estate, right? Opens up a lot of doors, right? But in many different ways. It's not just real estate, but also like in terms of just like even renting an apartment, even applying for a job. All right. I mean, there's so many different ways where they will check your credit score, right? But one of the biggest ways in real estate, by having a good credit score, you can get lower interest rates on mortgages and and stuff, and you can leverage credit, right? So maximize your credit score. Now, your FICO score is made up of five different things. All right. Number one is payment history, and that's the most. Payment history is the biggest influence of your credit score, right? Because it makes up 35% of your score, right? And so, and basically, payment history is basically your history of paying on time, right? So important to pay on time. So, payment history makes up 35%. Credit utilization makes up 30%, right? So the amount of money that you are borrowing, the percentage that you're borrowing of the total amount that's available to you, that is your credit utilization, right? So credit utilization makes up 30% of your FICO score. Credit age makes up 15% of your credit score. New credit inquiries make up 10% of your credit score, and credit mix makes up the other 10% of your FICO credit score, right? So it's so important to maximize your credit score. Now, number six, track and budget your money. Awareness builds control. By tracking every dollar, you will automatically become thoughtful and intentional about how you are managing your money. Download the YNAB app. There's an awesome budgeting app called YNAB, YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. YNAB app. Download the YNAB app and start using it. This is so very important, because a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went, right? And now, number seven, develop and maintain a healthy morning routine. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, is that really related to finances? Yes, it's very much related to finances, because in order to do these things, it takes energy. And developing and maintaining a healthy morning routine is going to help you to maximize your energy, because how you start the day sets the tone for your whole day. All right. Momentum is key. All right. So this was just a very short little summary of financial fitness, but very important. Please send us your questions, because on Thursday, the financial experts and I will be there, and we're going to be answering your questions. All right. I'll see you guys on Thursday.